If I was unmotivated, didn't know what to draw, or didn't have anything to draw, or as little as 30 seconds of spare time to draw, I will undoubtedly do this because there is so much value that I get from this drawing exercise. What's good, everybody? My name is Mr. Salt, and welcome to my art journey. So the basis of this exercise is to push your limits in drawing forms. To do this, we will be using the primitive form and attempting to manipulate them in different ways. I've been doing this for a couple weeks now, and I've been seeing a lot of solid improvement in my drawing skills. There are a lot of benefits that come from doing this exercise. To name a few, I've been able to draw from imagination, and I've been picking up a lot of drawing nuances that you really get just from mileage alone. This exercise really shouldn't feel like homework at all. The goal is for you to have fun and actually see what you can come up with. So without further ado, let's get to the drafting table and let's get right on into it. So for this exercise, we're going to be working with the 4 primitive forms. So these are our primitive forms that we're going to be working with. Now, the goal of this exercise is to really push manipulating these primitives to the absolute limit. So for example, we're gonna start off with the sphere. I'm going to draw a sphere. So I highly suggest you guys actually put the cross contours on the rounded objects. So for the sphere, I'm going to do a cross contour here. And this is basically going to give me some form of 3-dimensionality. I'm also going to do another cross contour just so I can really understand what this shape looks like, what this form really feels like in 3D space, right? So let's say, for example, I actually want to cut into this sphere. I can actually use the cross contours as my guide. So let's say we want to turn this into like some weird Pac-Man looking guy, and we can use our cross contours. We know this is the front, and then it goes around back here. Same thing here, and it goes around. I'm just going to darken these lines to really define what I want this shape to be. And then I'm going to bring a line clean into that and basically connect them together while also following the same contours here. So this contour is going to match that, and this contour is going to match that. And then we can just finish off our shape and go around and end off here. And then I'm going to add a bit of shade just so we can define what that looks like. Now this really looks like some weird Pac-Man form, right? And whenever I'm doing this exercise, I like to add on and just you really want to play around with how many different shapes you can actually make with this, right? I'm going to actually do another sphere, and my favorite thing to do is with the spheres is actually cut into them. I'm going to add one contour again. Let's cut into this sphere and make it look something like a skull or something, right? So I really start filling on the sphere, pause, and really trying to understand what this will look like if I was to cut into it. And I'm really just moving my hand back and forth on the form just so I can really get a feel. And same thing, as I go inside of the form, I'm really still trying to figure out what contour is actually inside this form. And then I can just darken the outline of the form. And then I just basically just came up with some weird shape, right? So another thing I like to do is actually try to combine shapes together. So let's say we have this sphere, and then let's try to combine it with a cylinder. So I just draw my sphere, and then I draw a contour on it, right? And actually this contour could be used as the same contour here for the cylinder. So I could just drop verticals right down and make it look as if we have a ball lodged within like a tube. And that's really the main goal of this exercise. You really want to play around and you really want to make a lot of mistakes and just really see what you can come up with. Like, you're not going to make anything super perfect. So let's say we want to take the sphere even further, and I love trying to poke holes in sphere. So let's say we have another sphere here. This time I'm actually not going to put the contours on it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a hole in this sphere here, right? And then I'm just going to make up a shape that's flowing out of this hole. So we're going to try to add something that's like flowing out of this. And right now we're just playing around just to see exactly what we can come up with. So I'm just going to go ahead and boom. Ooh, that was flowy. That was flowy. So now that I have something to work with, I can start trying to redefine or define exactly how I want this shape to be. So I'll start darkening what I actually want the shape to be. And then eventually you'll start noticing the lighter lines disappearing as you define the silhouette. And I'm also gonna add a bit of cross contours just so I can understand the shape more myself. And then once I have some cross contours, then I'll exactly know how this shape sits in 3D space. And then we could take this shape even further and actually try to add more stuff onto it. Like, let's say I want to pull part of this up this way. So I can just take that and pinch it and see if I can try to make some weird pull where I make the shape a bit different now. And then I just darken my line. So now it just looks like we pulled this shape a bit, pulled it. And it's all trial and error. Sometimes you'll get the shape right, sometimes you wouldn't. But that is the main goal of this exercise. It's really to just push yourself to the limit and to see what you can actually come up with. So this exercise really helps you start getting a hold of playing around with the shapes and forms. I actually do this a lot. If we switch, if we look at this particular page in my sketchbook, I normally mess around with this a lot. Like this box here, I end up making a box and like cutting into it and then kind of just coming up with this car in my own ball shape, twisting and turning this form. You can do a lot with this exercise. So I highly encourage you guys to try this exercise whenever you have free time, whether it's work, school. The more you constantly do this, you really start building mileage and actually start picking up a lot of drawing nuances that you really don't pick up from a lot of videos. Like there's a lot of other benefits that this drawing exercise does for me that I really can't explain. It's all nuance now. Like I'd really have to sit down and think about it as I'm doing it. I appreciate everybody for watching. And if you guys are new here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content around learning art. But yeah, I appreciate everybody for watching and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Deuces.